Okay, today's lesson you're going to be learning about cubes and cube roots. You need this handout, and of course you need a calculator so that we can discuss how to do all the things we need to do on our awesome calculator. So, first thing you're going to do is you're going to fill in this part of the note sheet. We need to know that cubing a number means that we are raising a number to a power of 3. So this is what it would look like. For example, if we were to find the volume of this 3D prism that has a length, width, and height, because it's a cube, remember, cubes have the same dimension for their length, width, and their height. So we would just be multiplying 2 times 2 times 2. Rather than write that out 3 different times, which we could do, we usually want to use exponents because in math we like to take up the less amount of space as possible. So 2 to the 3 power means that we're doing that. We're calculating 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. Remember, on your calculator, if you were to try to do that, it would take a while. 2 times 2 times 2. So it would help if I turn my calculator on. You guys know a shortcut. You know that if you want to take 2 to the 3rd power, you could use this button over here, which we kind of called the caret button. 2 caret 3 will do the same problem, but it'll do it quicker for us. So guys, you have on your note sheet a whole list of problems that I want you to fill out, similar to the ones we talked about yesterday when we were doing square roots. In order to understand how cube roots work, that we'll talk about over here, I need you guys to take a minute with your calculator, and I need you to type in for each problem, unless of course you know it in your head, 1 caret 3 to get the first one, and then you're going to get 2 caret 3, which we already did, and continue on until you finish filling in the chart with all the solutions. Go ahead and pause this video. Once you've had a chance to answer all of them, you may even go on and do these 3 at the bottom. This is just to practice making sure you know how to put in fractions, decimals, and negative numbers with our caret button to the 3rd power. So again, pause this video right here, and then when everybody is set and you're ready to check your answers and move on, you can press play again. Okay, so now that you've had time to practice those with your calculator, let's check our answers. 1 cubed is 1, 2 cubed is 8, 3 cubed is 27, and I'll let you continue checking. These numbers would be considered perfect cubes. Just like yesterday we talked about how we had numbers that were perfect squares. That's when you have 2 matching factors. Remember, cubes have 3 matching factors. So if you get all the way down to 12 cubed, you should have gotten 1,728, all with using our caret button to the 3rd power if we choose to do that using our calculator. Now, for these equations down here at the bottom, what you'll notice is you have, let me get rid of this. What you have down at the bottom is it kind of looks like it's an equation, but guys, it's going to be easy to solve these because you already have x by itself. We just have to simplify the math that's on this side. So remember, if you're trying to take 1/3 to the 3rd power, you're going to go ahead and use parentheses. You're going to put in your 1/3 as a fraction, 1ABC3. You'll raise it to the 3rd power, and you should get 1/27. If you get a decimal answer, remember you can hit second PRB to turn it back into a fraction. This one already has a decimal raised to the 3rd power, so you can just type in your 0.54 caret 3. We should be getting 0.157464. And then for the bottom one, I gave you a negative number because I want to make sure you're comfortable with parentheses putting in your -12 and then caret to the 3rd power. You will get a negative answer, and again, that's because you're dealing with a -12 times another -12, which some kids would stop there and go, hey, wait a minute, this is going to be a positive answer. Well, this part is, but we still have one more matching factor of 12 left. So even though this gave you a positive, this positive times the last number that's negative is what gives us the negative answer. Remember, an odd number of factors that are negative is going to give you a negative value in the end. So guys, this whole side of your note sheet is set. It's time for us to go on the other side and to learn about cube roots. Cubing a number is actually the opposite of taking the cubed root. So guys, this is what a cubed root symbol looks like. It's almost got the same symbol as a square root symbol, but that's a little 3 in the corner. It's called your index. And when we change the index, it means we have more than just 2 matching factors. We're looking for 3 matching factors that give us 1. Now, you guys probably already know this because the 3 matching factors have to be 1 times 1 times 1. That's the only way you're going to get when you're set. So the cubed root of 1 is definitely 1. You can see that it's going to get harder to guess our answers because on the next problem, if we're trying to get an 8, everybody's instinct is to take 4, half of 8. The problem is when you try to find the cubed root of 8, it says we need 3 matching factors. Well, guess what? 4 times 4 is already too big. We're at 16, and then 16 times 4 is 64. So we know that the cubed root of 8 cannot be 4. It must be something smaller. So what it ends up being is that you take a 2 times 2 times 2. There's your 3 matching factors. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So it turns out that the cubed root of 8 is 2. So guys, to make it easier than trying to do this by hand, we do have some things on the calculator we need to learn. What's really bizarre though is we don't have a special button like we did for square roots down here. So all we had to do for square roots, remember, is hit second x squared. The the cube root button actually has to be modified to allow us to put the index in. So that's why I put this in your notes, guys. In order to find a cube root, you actually have to press 3 buttons before you even enter the number. So you're going to press 3, and it's going to show up normal size on your screen. And then you're going to hit second caret, and that's going to show the symbol with a little X in the corner. So this tells us, hey, we want a 3 for our index so that we can find the cubed root of 1 in this case. So we're going to practice over here. If I could get the glare off my screen. And I can remember to turn this on. Alright, so those buttons we just talked about, you do have to remember to put the index in first. So since it's a cubed root, we're entering a 3. And then we're hitting second, but be careful, we're hitting the caret button this time. And that allows us to get a cubed root. So if we were looking for the cubed root of 3, that's what it has to look like on our screen. And of course it gives us 1. So then if we want to do the cubed root of 8, remember, we had to hit the index first of 3, and then we had to go get second caret to go get that symbol. And then we go ahead and put what's inside, and we can see that's 2. We already talked about that one. So then if we want to do the cubed root of 27, which was next, we have to hit 3, second caret, and then 27, and surprise, surprise, we get 3. The reason we get 3, remember, is because you needed 3 matching factors, and the only way to make that happen is if we start with 3, times another 3 is 9, times the last 3 is 27. Okay, so this can kind of be what's going on in your head when you're trying to do cubed roots by hand, but if you want to use the calculator, remember these are the buttons you press. 3, second caret, and then the number under the square root sign. So guys, I need you to pause the video again. I need you to go back to your calculator, and I need you to practice doing all the questions that are left on this chart right here. Hold off on these questions right here. We're going to come back together and finish those in a few minutes. So again, hit pause. This way you'll have time to do those problems, and then play the video again in a minute when you're done so we can check and finish the notes. Okay, so to check your answers, remember you were entering the 3, the second, the caret button, and then the number we were working on. We had done these together before. So let's make sure when you did the cubed root of 64, you got 4, and the cubed root of 125, you got 5, the cubed root of 216, you got 6, and then, no surprise, I gave you every perfect cube all the way up to 12, and then hopefully you notice a resemblance with the numbers in this chart here that we filled out first together today. Cubing the number gave you these numbers called perfect cubes. And then if you take the cubed root of the number, remember this is your square root symbol, but it's called a cubed root because of the little 3 in the corner, you will get those same values back out of it. Again, they undo each other. So guys, it's time to do some solving. So down here, what you're going to look at first is right here, okay? If we have to solve an equation where there is a variable that's being cubed, like these down here, you're going to undo it. You're going to use opposite operations. And because it's cubed, we're taking the cubed root, which will undo it. So this is what it looks like, guys, if you take the cubed root of both sides. You're going to draw those square root symbols, but you're going to put the little 3's up in the corner as an index, okay? This is how we write them. Remember the calculator, it looks a little different when we actually do the calculation, but when you write it down, I want you to write it like we're supposed to. So we're taking the cubed root, and just like when we were doing solving with square roots, what happens is that cubing will cancel with the cubed root. They're gone, and that's why we get x. So in this case, when you work through that, we have the variable r cubed. The cubed root, again, wipes that out, so you just have the value r. And then remember, you're going to take your calculator, and on your calculator, you're going to hit that we're taking a cubed root, so second caret, after putting in the 3, is going to allow us. And then, let's see, we are doing 4,096 for the first one. So 4,096 is going to give us an answer of 16. So we have that. And then on the other side, we are doing a very large cubed root, 15,000 cubed root, second cube, and then 625, I think it was. So 15,625 gave us 25, and we are correct. So ladies and gentlemen, if you have to solve an equation with a cubed root in it, with a cubed or something raised to the third power, you now know about cubed roots. First thing you're going to do today next is you're going to cut your note sheet and you're going to tape it into your notebook, page 133, 134. There's your title. Once you're done taping it into your notebook, you will have 2 assignments. One is a maze, and you can complete the entire packet now since you now know about cubed roots as well as square roots. When you've completed the maze packet, you have another practice sheet to work on. So please do both of those, again, after taping this neatly into your notebook so you have a great resource to use.